This is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have a very special demonstration for you, and I'm really excited because this day, this is one of the questions in my early years, got asked a lot. Hey John, can I juice wheatgrass with the champion, or is there an attachment to juice wheatgrass with the champion? And I'd always have to answer, no, there's not. You can't juice wheatgrass effectively with the champion. It just doesn't work. The wheatgrass gets stuck around the champion blade and then just doesn't really work. Also, with leafy greens, it'll kind of juice leafy greens, but it's nowhere as near effective as juicing leafy greens, compared to a single auger style juicer or a twin gear juicer. That being said, Champion finally, after many years of promising, came out with the Champion Greens attachment. Now, this Champion Greens attachment is basically designed to effectively juice wheatgrass with your Champion juicer. So currently the Champion Greens attachment retails for under $100. So if you already own a Champion juicer, I think the Greens attachment can make a great addition to your Champion so that you can now juice more effectively leafy greens and juice wheatgrass with your Champion. If you haven't yet bought a juicer, I wouldn't necessarily recommend buying the Champion and the leafy greens attachment, so then you could, juice wheatgrass and leafy greens. There are many other juicers on the market that are capable, out of the box, able to juice wheatgrass and leafy greens actually really effectively without any attachments. Because buying the whole setup here, it's going to cost a chunk of change, and you could get in my opinion, a juicer that's going to be more effective for less money. So please check my other videos to learn about other juicers, such as the single auger style juicers that may be more effective with juicing wheatgrass and leafy greens than buying the Champion with this attachment here. This demonstration today is just going to be of the Champion Greens attachment, and in a future episode we're going to actually do a juice off. So we're going to use a Champion juicer with the greens attachment with, compared to a single auger style juicer. This is the first look. I just got this in the mail, so we're going to just show you how this works and unbox it and see what it comes with. See, it's still even sealed in the box. So let's go ahead and open up the box. Once again, I would like to say that, the Champion juicer and the Champion Greens attachment is made in the United States of America. So when you're buying these products, you're buying American and supporting Americans. So that's really a good thing if that is important to you. Okay, let's check out what's in the box. All right. You get a nice little cleaning brush, says Champion on there. You got some, let's see, notice the customer. If the serial number of your juicer starts with the letter CM, do not use the black restrictor. Contact Plastic Kit and provide complete serial number to obtain the correct restrictor. So that's definitely important to know. The other thing that's really important to know is that this greens attachment will not work with every Champion that may be out there, and it may not work with the one you currently own. You see, they've been making Champion for over 55 years. That's a long time they've been making these things. And through the years, they've actually went through some minor revisions, changing some parts, small changes. So basically, this greens attachment will only work with juicers made in like 1988 and on. So the way you're going to know this for sure is by checking your serial number. So get a pen and paper handy, because you're going to want to write this down. So if you have a white Champion juicer like I have here, if you have a serial number that starts with a W130000 or higher, then you can use this attachment. If you have the avocado color Champion, now that's the cool 70s green color, avocado color. Looks like when you cut open an avocado, that's the color the Champion is. You can't buy those anymore, unfortunately. So you either like them or you hate them. But if you have one of those, if you have the serial number A50500 or higher, you can use the attachment. If you have the yellow Champion juicer, if your serial number is Y68800 or higher, you can use this attachment. If you have the almond colored Champion juicer and your serial number is AL-31000 or higher, you could use this attachment. If you have the brown juicer, I haven't seen one of those in a while. If you have a brown Champion juicer and your serial number is BR37100 or higher, you can use this attachment. And if you have the Champion commercial juicer, now that's the juicer with basically the heavier duty motor, but everything else looks the same. If your serial number is C4791 or higher, you can use this attachment. Now, if you have the Champion overseas model, right? The overseas model works on different voltages. If you have that model, there's a whole different model of this attachment. So, you know, you're going to need a different one. In any case, without further ado, let's get back to seeing what's in here. So let's see, they give you a little pusher so you can push your greens in there. There's like some kind of O-ring. I'm not quite sure what this is used for yet. There's some packing material that can be reused. Reusing is always better than recycling or throwing away. Here's the diverter right there. Let's see, also they got nice and wrapped up in here is a funnel piece. Nice clear funnel. Looks good. And finally we have the unit itself wrapped up. Here it is right here. Oh, and then we got some instructions. So definitely read your instructions. Very important to read them up. It basically tells you about the assembly procedure, how to assemble it properly. There are a couple tricks. It also talks about juicing preparation and how to do it. So definitely you want to read your instructions. Also the warranty card and registration card. Let's see, it has a 1-year warranty from Plasticate. All right, so next let's go ahead and show you how to assemble this greens attachment for the Champion Juicer. First, we're going to take off the Champion Juicer original juicing parts. So we'll put that aside there. Next, what we need to do is very important. Now, you should be doing this anyways, even with your regular Champion. You're going to take some vegetable oil. I have some coconut oil here today. And after every use on your Champion, you're always supposed to lube up your shaft. Definitely always good to lube up your shaft there. Just going to put a little bit of oil on there to lube it up. You know, I am using coconut oil. You could also use an olive oil or, you know, whatever oil you happen to have in your house. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take this O-ring. You're going to put basically a nice coating of vegetable oil on this O-ring. This O-ring is here to basically prevent leakage. So let's see, you got that oiled up nice. And then we're going to basically put that around right here on the juicer. Let's put our oil away. So next, let's go ahead and assemble the greens attachment. You can see we have a couple different parts here. Now this main body part is made out of Eastman Triton. This is BPA-free plastic, so I really like that Champion did this, and actually they're probably the first juicer manufacturer I know to use the Triton material. So, you know, if you're a juicer manufacturer out there listening, follow Champion's lead. You guys should be making your stuff out of the Triton material, BPA free too, because I think customers really want that. In any case, we're going to take this, then we're going to take the juicing screen here, stainless steel screen. We're going to go ahead and put this into the housing. Once again, you want to push it all the way in until it stops, and then you're going to actually hold your finger there. So next, you're going to take this end cap piece. It says lock and open. You're going to take the part that has like the little notch there at the top. You're going to put that all the way to the side while you're still holding this back part in. Push it in, and then you're going to rotate it to turn it upright. And then that notch needs to be at the top. That's very important that you get that right. Now this part may be a little bit frustrating to get it, but you know, once you're going to figure out how to put it on, you'll be able to do it every single time. So next we're going to take the auger, and there's an arrow on the top to line up the keyway that you have to do like on your regular Champion. So we're going to line that up, goes right on. Then we're going to take this whole assembly and just push it on like we normally would push on our regular Champion body, and then slide it up, you know, towards you, it locks into place. We could then put our cool, snazzy, clear funnel. I like that a lot. More companies should make, once again, the clear funnel, man. It just looks cool. Then we're going to take the diverter, and once again, this has a little clip here. You need to lock it in to where you just, you know, line that up, line that little notch up. Just goes in place like that. Really simple, real easy. Next, you're going to want to take a collection cup, put that underneath to catch all your green juice that's going to be coming out, and then we just, once again, have a big bowl to catch all the pulp. Now, if this is assembled correctly, you should be able to turn your Champion on, and it'll actually run. Now, you know, that auger in there spins at 1725 RPMs. So this is literally, and I'm in California, this is literally the fastest wheatgrass juicer in the West, because most other wheatgrass juicers run at a slow RPM of maybe, you know, 80 to 125, 150 RPM. So this is actually running really fast for wheatgrass. So Champion designed this to juice wheatgrass and other leafy greens effectively. So let's check out to see how it's gonna do. So the next thing is we need some greens to juice. Well, hey, I'm in my garden and I have all kinds of greens to juice. So let me go walk back here to my tree collards and pick some greens that I could juice. right, so now I'm picking some tree collards back here. These are delicious greens, collard greens, always wonderful and delicious to juice. Now, I don't necessarily recommend drinking your green juices straight. You should always want to mix them with something else. So, juice regular stuff in your champion, then put your greens attachment on to, add some of the green juice in with your normal juice. Alright, so I got some greens fresh from the garden, and I want to say once again, it's always best to pick your greens fresh, because once they're picked and harvested, hydro-cooled, then shipped across the country, and then you buy them at your local supermarket or health food store, some of the vitality and some of the nutrition, is definitely lost. Because 50% of certain nutrients can be lost within 24 hours of harvesting. Not to say that greens from your local supermarket are bad. It's just you could have a lot better if you sourced, local produce from, say, a farmer's market. Or better yet, grow it yourself. And it is really easy to grow some food. Actually, leafy greens and greens are one of the easiest things to grow. You could even grow wheatgrass or sunflower green sprouts in your New York City apartment. So anyways, I got some tree collards here, some small ones and then some larger ones that have a lot more fiber. So we're going to see how the champion greens attachment does with that. I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and turn this thing on. It's really cranking there, and let's stick this whole thing in. Now, when I'm juicing greens, I like to roll them up so then they'll fit in the feed chute better. So let's see how it does. Well, took it in. Check it out, man. It's shredding it up. Man, I'm getting a lot of juice out of this. I'm actually pretty impressed. Let's go ahead and push that in. Man, that's really, check it out. It's really doing a good job juicing these greens. So, once again, once the pulp does come out, if it's not dry enough for you, you could put it through one additional time. If you put it through one additional time, it may get more juice, but you don't want to keep putting it back through, because what'll happen is the pulp's going to be so dry, it's just going to literally clog up the machine, and it's going to stop the machine. You're going to have to stop, take the whole thing apart, and then start over. So that's not recommended. Let's go ahead and roll this tree collard green up again. Let's go ahead and feed it leaf side first this time. Man, it's just chunking that pieces off. Whoa, look at that, it took it right in. This is really cool, man. This works really fast. Let's go ahead and put some more tree collards in there. Shove them in there, see how it's gonna do. Let's keep on juicing. Throw it in there. Now, definitely greens are one of the things that you want to juice a lot of if you are into juicing, because greens have the chlorophyll, which is really good for us. It's basically the sunlight that the plant converts into energy. That's what chlorophyll is. So chlorophyll is sun energy, and when you're drinking green juices, you're getting sun energy right into you. All right, so we're pushing that through there. It's having a little bit of hard time feeding in. I'm seeing some leaves stuck right in the bottom. That's not getting sucked in by the greens attachment. Let's try to go ahead and, oh, there we go. I pushed it in with the edge of this and it went right through. So that's definitely good. The pusher wasn't allowing me to get it all the way in. So let's, oh, look at that. This just kind of vibrated off. Let's go ahead and push that in. Maybe it wasn't on tight. All right, that's on there tight now. It should be coming off. Let's go ahead and push more of these greens in there. Wow, this thing works so fast. It's unlike any other greens juicer I've ever seen, because, the RPM's much higher. Now, some people might be thinking, hey, John, I've saw in your other videos where you talk about the RPMs of juicers, and, I know that you prefer a lower RPM, and that's absolutely true. I do prefer a lower RPM. Lower RPMs mean less oxygen being introduced into the juice. I'm sure, as you have owned, if you have owned a champion, you've juiced with it, and sometimes if you juice a lot, you'll feel it. It actually gets warm. That's because the higher the RPMs, the more friction is generated generally, and the more heat that is generated. So overall, I would prefer, you get a low-speed juicer, because that's going to produce the highest quality juice. But then the problem is you're going to have to buy a whole new juicer to juice wheatgrass and leafy greens. And if you already own the champion, buying the greens attachment to juice greens and wheatgrass, in my opinion, is definitely the way to go, because you don't have to buy a whole new machine. And actually, the greens attachment is much less expensive. And so far, so good. I'm pretty impressed with how this thing is working. Sometimes when you push things in, this pusher just doesn't quite go down far enough. Oh, there we go. Get all those greens in there. Let's go ahead and push this in a little bit at a time, see what happens. Look at that, man. It literally is just chewing up the stem of these tree collards. Let's go ahead and roll this up, push it in there. Man, it takes it right in, pushes it right out. I mean, man, look at this pulp. That's pretty broken down. Let's go ahead and try and put a little bit more in there and see if we get any more juice out of that stuff. Once again, only put the pulp through one more time. You put the pulp through like 2 additional times, then what's going to happen, it's going to stock up your juicer, stop up your juicer. That's not a good thing. You're going to have to take it apart and then start over again. Man, this stuff literally just takes those greens and chunks it right through, man. Really cool, really fast. Let's go ahead and push those in once again. Man, takes them right through, pushes them right through. Let's dump those greens back in there again. Another shot through. I can feel there's a little bit of, moisture in the pulp, but, once we put it back through, definitely gets it out and gets it drier. Let's go ahead and roll this up, put it in. Man, it's sucking it right in there. Man, it just grated it right up, spit it right out, and, made all this juice. Now, this pulp is a little bit wet, but it's definitely breaking open those cell walls. I mean, it's doing a good job, in my opinion. Takes it, and once again, it's literally wringing out all the juice, because this is just a single auger style attachment for the Champion that's running at high speed. Let's go ahead and turn this off now and check the results here. So the one thing that I noticed is when I was feeling the pulp, this pulp is definitely warm to the touch. Now in a future episode, I'll actually test the pulp and see how hot it is. I'm definitely sure that it still can be considered raw because it's definitely not over 118 degrees. I can see that if you did put the pulp in a few times, how it could heat up more, get drier, and then actually stop the machine up, then it may not be considered raw. But we have a nice wad of pulp here, and it's broken down pretty good. And I could squeeze a couple drops of juice out. But you know what? The Champion Greens attachment, in my opinion, is doing a great job juicing up the greens. Now, once again, you want to remember when you're juicing leaves, right? It's not like juicing carrots. When you're juicing leaves, like there's not a whole lot of juice in a single leaf or in a single blade or even a handful of wheatgrass. So you got to juice a lot more than you would normally think of because, you're juicing leaves and there's not a lot of juice in it. Just juicing that much leaves that I just picked there, definitely got us a good, I don't know, quarter cup or like maybe 2 ounces of juice. So it didn't produce a lot, but let's see how it tastes. Man, that tastes like green juice. It is really strong. So once again, I don't encourage you to drink straight greens juice unless you build up to it. If you want to maybe start out with like 1 ounce shot of straight green juice, that probably will be all right. Like most people start with 1 ounce of wheatgrass. You don't want to just start juicing like 10 ounces of wheatgrass and drink it straight up because you know what? You're probably going to get sick and throw up because your body is just not used to that level of greens. So you got to build yourself up and get used to eating and drinking these healthy foods that you may not be accustomed to. So what I would recommend is, making 3/4 of a glass of regular vegetable juice, including carrots and celery, cucumbers, bell peppers, whatever else you want to put in there, with the regular Champion. Then put your greens attachment on and then fill up the rest 1/4 of the cup of juice with all your leafy greens. And that'd be the best way to juice greens in your Champion with the greens attachment. So if you already own the Champion juicer, I think the greens attachment for the Champion juicer is a great way to be able to juice wheatgrass and leafy greens with your Champion. And it does a good job. Definitely better than, with the standard attachment here that the Champion already includes. That being said, if you are new into juicing and don't yet own a juicer, I wouldn't necessarily buy the Champion and then buy the greens attachment because then, the cost overall is going to go up significantly. And in my opinion, it'd be much better to just buy one machine that already has the ability to juice wheatgrass, greens, and all the other things you want to juice. That being said, being able to juice greens and wheatgrass is only one criteria that you may want to consider before purchasing a juicer. Some other criteria that may be important to you are: how long is a warranty? Has the company been in business in the United States for a long time? I mean, there's companies selling juicers that may not have been doing business in the US too long. If they fold, then where is your warranty? It's gone. Where are your parts if the machine breaks and you need to buy new parts? You can't even get them. Another factor may be the initial cost of the juicer. Another factor may be how much does it yield? How efficient is it? Another factor, if you have kids and family sleeping when you get up early to juice, is how noisy is the juicer? There's so many different factors to take into consideration before purchasing your first juicer. I would encourage you to watch some of my other videos where I actually go over testing of specific juicers to show you how they'll work before you buy your juicer, so that you can get the juicer that's best going to meet the needs and the criteria that you have. In any case, hopefully this was a valuable demonstration showing you how the Champion greens attachment works. Once again, this was the first look, and in the future I'm going to have some juice offs comparing the Champion with the greens attachment to dedicated single auger and twin gear juicers to see how it fares in the real world. Once again, this is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.